Hello lovely people of the world, once again to you, and welcome to the Pikmin 3 Deluxe demo. Today we're playing it through a little bit of the story mode to demonstrate Pikmin 3 on Nintendo Switch. I'm really excited for this because, first of all, as you see right here, multiple save files! Why did it take a whole new console for this to happen? But today, we're actually not going to be playing through the first day because I figured it's a tutorial day, I can explain everything by myself. So we're going to be playing through day 2 of the demo. So that's going to be pretty fun. The demo also contains a little bit of mission mode as well. I will not be covering that in the video because pretty much everything there we've already covered in a bonus video for the Pikmin 3 Let's Play. So there's not really much there that's worth showing again. But I will be talking about the demo in more detail as we go across this place. Throughout this video, we're also going to be skipping story cutscenes and things like that, so that you don't get spoiled too much. This is fairly early on in the game, so it's not like you're going to be spoiled too much about the game's story, but I will demonstrate is the fact that if you press the Y button right here, you can also see Alf talking to himself, and that's pretty amusing. So without further ado, let's get into the game.
The Garden of Soap.
And skip. So let's continue on over here, and basically what Pikmin is, if you've never seen anything about this series before, Pikmin is a real-time strategy where you control an army of cute little Pikmin creatures. You'll be able to whistle them around to call them. You can also pick up data files, which are kind of useless, but I've already gotten enough tangents about that during the Let's Play. So what you can do is press the ZR button to... Okay, there we go. The lock-on feature is a little bit different in this game, so it's taking a little bit of getting used to, because back on the Wii U version of this game, the camera would kind of zoom in dynamically whenever you're locking onto something. It's not that way in this game, which throws me off a little bit. There are a few things here and there that do kind of throw me off, admittedly, so that's just something that's going to be taking some getting used to. So we go over here and charge our Pikmin against the wall. Unfortunately, there's no swarming ability like what we could do with the Pikmin in the first two games. So unfortunately, they didn't include that in this version. But the charging ability is still pretty fun. Unfortunately, though, there's no way you can do that with most of the controls, at least as far as I can tell. Because in the original version, if you're playing with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, what you could do is that you can throw the Pikmin by moving the nunchuck. That was a feature that I did like, even though I was like one of the 5 people in the world who preferred playing Pikmin 3 with the gamepad touchscreen. So that's something that's pretty amusing. So the Pikmin are going to be carrying the parts of the bridge back over here. Now, unfortunately, we can't go over here quite yet because we don't have the right Pikmin for the job, but hopefully we'll be able to find one soon enough. And it looks like the bridge has been fully built, so we can go over here. We're gonna ignore you and charge at the electric wall! Way! Oh no, poor Pikmin! Alright, fine, we'll do it the correct way. So we can press the X button on the Joy-Con to charge the Pikmin, and that's pretty nice. So we only need 10 Pikmin for that, and then we can have the rest. That is 20 Pikmin, that is a lot more than I need. We'll throw 10 Pikmin at you. Just a few more, and then we'll throw the rest of them over here. Now, something that's really nice about this game is that they have changed how the lock-on feature works. You could lock on to stuff in Pikmin 3 back on the Wii U version, but how they do it now in this version is that, like for example, if we go over here, we can lock on to this pellet thing, but we can also press the button to switch between what we're locked on to. Now this is very nice if you're playing without motion controls, because it makes aiming a lot easier. I will not be playing this game without motion controls because that is the only way that I'll play this game. I do understand that there will be some people out there who just cannot get into the motion controls or they can't do them at all, and that's perfectly fine. There are plenty of control options for this game, so you can play however is comfortable for you. Oh no, she's dead! Alright, so there was a cutscene right there where Brittany would have appeared on the pad screen, which back on the Wii U version would appear on the gamepad. And let me just say, why couldn't this version have come out sooner? Why couldn't it have been that way back when this game first came out on Wii U? Like, it was cool and all that, you had so much to do on the gamepad touchscreen, but it also made recording our Let's Play kind of a pain in the butt, because literally every single time that I picked up a data file, I had to pause the game and upload a picture onto Miiverse. That's how I got the footage for that back when I Let's Play this game. Now, unfortunately, I can't do that anymore because Miiverse is gone, but it kind of seems like any game that I would Let's Play on the Wii U has already been ported to Switch anyway, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. That right there, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. That's another thing that kind of throws me off about this version, is that on the Wii U version, if you're locked onto something, it will tell you the name of it, but it's not doing that in this version. I don't know if that's something for the demo, or if they changed that for some reason, I don't know. But, as I completely glossed over, we now have some Rock Pikmin. Rock Pikmin are pretty great because their initial throw will deal a little bit more damage than like a regular Pikmin. But unfortunately, they can't latch onto anything, so the strategy with them revolves around having to... Wait, what was that? What that say? That says something about changing the controls. And something's analyzing at the ship. It's probably the strawberry. Like this right here. This used to be on the gamepad, but now it's all on one screen. Why couldn't it have been this way from the start? Again, this is coming from somebody who liked the Wii U gamepad. But yeah, we're going to be spending some time building up our Rock Pikmin army for a moment. So we can press the L button to change which Pikmin we're going to be throwing. I didn't pay attention to that when I was first playing through this demo, so this entire first day, I didn't quite understand how you were supposed to change the Pikmin, but luckily I do now because I actually bothered to read for once. This is coming from somebody who actually wrote a book, so that's probably not the best sign in the world. So as they take care of that, we're going to whistle the rest of the Pikmin over there. We'll have one carry that thingy, and then we'll pick up the data file and completely gloss over what it's saying. Man, the thing is, I remember very vividly recording this game when I was doing the Let's Play, because like I said earlier, every single time that I picked up a data file, I had to pause the game to upload the picture to Miiverse so I can use it for the video, and that made commentating over the game kind of hard to do, because I kind of would lose my train of thought a lot, so yeah. Now, one thing that I would like to say right now is I honestly don't entirely know if I'm going to be covering this version during the Let's Play, because the only thing that I haven't done for the Let's Play so far that I already said that I would do is Bingo Battle. The reason why I didn't do that was because when I was making those bonus videos and I finally got around to doing those, those rumors about this game coming to Switch started coming more often, and then as we saw, the game was eventually officially confirmed for Switch. So I'm really glad I didn't do the Bingo Battle video sooner. This right here will now be introduced to a new party member. We now have the ability to control Brittany. So we'll throw some Pikmin over there, and as Brittany is explaining, what we can do now is that we can hold the Y button and move left on the thumbstick to switch control of the captains. I've heard some people saying that they don't like how this controls now. Personally, I like it a little bit better than how I used to control, because like I said earlier, I used to play this game with only the gamepad touchscreen, and there was a little bubble on the gamepad that you'd use to switch between those. So that's something that I'm grateful that they changed now. So we're going to throw some Pikmin over there. One other thing that's also kind of throwing me off about these controls is that I didn't play with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck at all on the Wii U version of this game, because they changed the Wii Remote controls so much between versions, between Pikmin 3 and things like that. Right, Pikmin, stop blocking onto stuff. There we go. Okay, fine. We'll have the rest of the red Pikmin take care of that. I see. Great. Okay, we'll wait on that strawberry for a moment. So, let's disband the squad real quick and have Alf go away. Man, I just cannot... Pikmin, go away! My goodness! Okay, I'm really hoping they change that in the full version. I don't know if they will, but it just seems like the whistle never fully disbands everybody, and that's something that's going to really bother me if that's not changed for the final version. But anyway, enough complaining. This game is fun. I like Pikmin 3. I swear I like this game. It's just that there's a few things here and there that are throwing me off because I played so much of the Wii U version, but I'm sure I'll get into it over time. Why didn't the rest of the Pikmin go after that? There we go. But yeah, what I was trying to say a moment ago was that on the Wii versions of Pikmin 1 and 2, it was the B button on the Wii Remote that would activate the whistle. And what's throwing me off is that I keep wanting to push the ZR button to call the whistle, but that's not what you do. That's the lock-on button. Yeah, that's just another thing that's throwing me off occasionally. These are problems that you probably won't face yourself if this is like the first Pikmin game that you're ever playing. So that's something to keep in mind, that these are just problems that I'm facing because I've played Pikmin so long. But if you're a newcomer to the series, don't worry, this is a great introductory game for you. This game is just really, really beginner friendly. Because one thing that we're going to see is that if we go over here... I guess that's not an option that happens yet. Okay, now I look like a dummy. We'll get that option before the end of the video, so that's not going to be something to worry too much about. I apologize if you hear that noisy car in the background. Alrighty then. So now we're taking care of you. We're going to be going over this way, and now there's a thing that's happening that we're going to skip the cutscene before you'll be able to fully see. Alright, so we're going to break up the squad real quick. Make sure it's fully broken up, because that's going to drive me crazy. Boy! My goodness gracious with gravy! When I disband the squad, everybody goes away. That's what you do when you disband the squad. Okay. So, what I'm doing right now is that I'm taking care of this area and clearing the pathway so that we don't have to worry too much about the bad guys and stuff like that. Rock Pikmin are not fireproof, so that was a really bad idea. But luckily, the whistle has the power to cure all diseases in this world, apparently. Okay, so I think what the game's trying to get me to do is... it seems like charging only charges one type of Pikmin, so I guess I could see where they're coming from, where they, you press the button multiple times to charge other Pikmin and things like that. I'll get used to it eventually. It's just another thing that's throwing me off. Let's have a counter for that every single time that I say that in the video. So, because we left Alf behind, there's not much we can do right here. So what we do is that we'll be going over here, throw the Pikmin, and wait for Alf to go back to the thing that he was doing. So also, one thing that's worth mentioning is that data file that was talking about having the captain move around with the Go Here feature, that was something that you originally learned over here. So it's kind of interesting how they changed where you can find certain data files. They probably did that to streamline the game just a little bit more. Like, Pikmin 3 was already a pretty easy game to begin with, but it seems like they did a lot of quality of life features to just make it just a little bit more easy for newcomers and things like that, which I do appreciate, because Pikmin is a very intimidating series to get into, because you think of it and you hear they're going to be controlling a squad of like 100 Pikmin, and there's a lot of strategy, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, how in the world could I possibly concentrate on that? But this is a very beginner-friendly game, so by all means, if you've never played a Pikmin game before, this is the best one to start with, in my personal opinion. Now, personally speaking, I think the first Pikmin game is still my absolute favorite in the series, so hopefully someday we'll be able to get all the Pikmin games on Switch. I'll even take Hey Pikmin. I know not all people liked that game and all, but I thought it was a pretty fun game. It filled that niche of... come back here. It filled that niche of wanting a handheld Pikmin game for a little while, and that actually kind of reminds me of something funny. So it's kind of funny to think about that there are people, when this game first came out, people were all like, oh, it's finally great to see that we're finally getting a handheld Pikmin game, and then me kind of liking Hey Pikmin is all like, but Hey Pikmin exists. And I'm sure when I say that, people will be all like, no, that one doesn't exist. Brittany, get over here. Get away. There we go. And now we'll switch over to you and control everybody in sight. So, some will go over there. Okay, so yeah, that definitely does seem like that's what's going on with the charge feature. It seems like charging only sends out one color group of Pikmin. That's actually a very nice feature. I actually kind of appreciate that. A flower bloomed on Pikmin's head. It's amazing how many plant-like qualities they possess. And skip. Alright, so looks like these guys have already finished their work, so you'll work on the wall next. The signal seems to be coming from over there. Alright. Take care of that. Haha. And it looks like the bridge is now completely taken care of, and that's pretty fancy indeed. So, all of this, I gotta say, this is probably like the fastest that I've ever taken care of everything here in a single day. So we're probably going to end the day early because there's not really that much left to do here. I guess there is one area over here we could take care of, but there's not much for us to see in that place. Like if we try going over here, like we saw earlier, charging all the Pikmin and stuff like that against the electric fence isn't exactly the most pleasant idea in the world. This is probably a horrible idea, but I want to get a picture. I'm a horrible person. So now we're taking care of all that. There's a data file over here. Rock Pikmin aren't crushed when trampled on. So that's pretty nice, because we're not going to be facing my worst nightmare ever. Why is nothing charging against it? Oh, it was... There we go. Boy. Okay, that's one thing I don't like, is that none of the Pikmin charge if Alpha is the one who's currently being targeted. Come on. Destroy the Wallywog, destroy the Wallywog, destroy the Wallywog. There we go. Yeah, I don't like these things. Wallywogs are jerks. They're like the epitome of everything that's wrong with the world. Thankfully they're not that bad in this game, but oh my goodness, I've had plenty of rough experiences with them in the first two Pikmin games. Would you? There we go. Take care of that. Alrighty then. We're going to split up the squad right now, and we'll have Brittany head over towards where the rock Pikmin... It's over here. We'll have you go over there, and that's pretty nice. One thing that's also pretty nice about this game is that I think on this version they introduced a new ability where you can lock the map so that it's always facing north, rather than facing where your camera is currently located at. I know that was something that a lot of people didn't particularly care that much for in the original games. So that's another thing that's pretty nice that they changed. Now, if we had time and if I cared about it, we could probably get that fruit over there. We probably do. I'm gonna make that a challenge. Let's see how much we can get done. Like, normally this is a point in time where I did call it quits because I usually like going for that fruit after a certain point in the game where we can get everything in that area, because there is one thing there that we can't quite do yet, but eventually we'll be able to do that. The onion stops spitting out seeds! And that basically tells you that you can only ever have 100 Pikmin out on the field. So that's kind of interesting. Now, obviously the reason why they did that was because they had too many Pikmin out on the field, then their console would kind of explode. Keep in mind that rule was created back in the GameCube days. It's honestly amazing that they were able to get the GameCube to do that at all, considering the hardware limitations at the time. And they could have very easily upgraded the limit so you can have like 200 or 300 Pikmin in this game. But I'm glad that they stuck with 100 because now that the consoles are more powerful, they made the AI of the individual Pikmin a lot smarter. And I'm sure that would have been a lot more difficult to do if they raised the limit. Unfortunately, this does come with the downside that not every single Pikmin type returned in this game, outside of mission mode and things like that. It will be sundown before too long. Alf, didn't you mention that nocturnal predators will attack any stray Pikmin? It looks like the Pikmin in the area of the nest thing we call an onion can get back on their own, though. I better call the Pikmin who aren't in my squad before it's too late. But it could be tiring to walk around everywhere to collect all the Pikmin. So I'll make sure that when you press A near the SS Drake, a whistle will be sounded that will call all Pikmin back to the onion. Let me tell you something fun about that. I didn't realize that that was a new feature. When I played through the demo the first time, I thought that that was something from the original game. Like, I was playing through here and I was like, wait, what? Was that a feature from the original game that I didn't know existed? Like, how in the world did I miss that? And I was kind of feeling a little bit embarrassed about that because of the fact that I've Let's Played this game before. So, yeah, that's something that's kind of interesting. Now, wait, I don't think we can actually do that. Wait, no, we can. I'm just being stupid. We just need to throw the Pikmin on top of that thingy. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, there we go. Alright, throw some Pikmin up there. They should be able to make it back in time. So, I would like to demonstrate what that feature is like, being able to throw, being able to have your Pikmin go back to base and things like that. So, I'm going to be risky, disband everybody, and I'm going to head back over here. Because if we go back to the onion, if we stand near the SS Drake, we'll be able to call the Pikmin back to us. Now, this is a really cool feature and all, and I really do appreciate it. But the thing you have to remember is the fact that this doesn't mean your Pikmin aren't safe. If they're going to be walking down a path that an enemy is located at, they're going to be completely defenseless. So you definitely do need to be careful about that. But I also really do like that because it would have been way too broken if they just magically spawned back at your onion. But it is a pretty nice way to get the Pikmin back to your base without you having to look everywhere for a few minutes. And are you prepared to see the biggest improvement in this game? Fast forwarding this no longer kills the frame rate! I never thought I'd see the day, but it is so glorious! The frame rate used to be atrocious during that, but man, it just feels so good to see an actual decent and stable frame rate when you're trying to skip through all that. Now, it kind of would have been nice if you could have just skipped the entire thing altogether, but c'est la vie. That's French for something. Now, a nice feature is that you can also look back on here and how do I play the thing? There we go. It's also pretty nice because you can see a playback of your entire day. So if you didn't like how the day turned out, you can strategize just a little bit better. And that's pretty nice. I also really like how you can just scroll through it like this without having to play the entire thing. I don't know if this is a new feature or not, but it's pretty fun. So we can leave that. We can also check here and get some achievements. Because, yeah, they added achievements to this game for some reason. I'm not going to say no to it, it's just pretty interesting. So this one here I find kind of amusing because it's called New Horizons. And, you know, Animal Crossing New Horizons. We discovered a mysterious broadcast signal. Wanna call by, could it be Skip? So that's pretty much everything that we're going to be seeing in this demo today. There are a few more things I would like to mention before we do anything else. But first of all, this cutscene's amazing.
That was amazing how the Pikmin freed you like that. I am indeed fortunate that they were present. They appear to be intelligent, friendly creatures. Perhaps we can get them to help us look for fruit. We need to focus every drop of our energy on getting the Pikmin to help us gather fruit. Well, we also need to find the cosmic drive key. We won't make it home without that. Right. Let's focus all of our energy on retrieving fruit and the key. I will think about nothing else. Except for finding the captain. We need to rescue him as well. Right. So, we'll just get the food, the key, and the captain.
Is that everything? Man, I love this game. I'm so happy this is coming to Nintendo Switch. So, as we finish off this video, there's a few more things I'd like to mention as well. So, going back onto the title screen, it's worth mentioning that this game now has some new difficulty modes. We have the regular mode, we have a harder mode, and a really difficult mode that basically limits your Pikmin to 60 rather than 100, which is going to be really cool because that winged Pikmin flew right through the logo. It's going to be really cool for people like me who've been playing these games forever and want a new challenge and things like that. There's also a few new modes, like there's Mission Mode, which isn't new, Bingo Battle, which isn't new, but Side Stories is a completely new thing, which is going to be pretty interesting. It looks like it plays like Mission Mode, which kind of bums me out a little bit because I'm not that big of a fan of Mission Mode, but it's new story content, so I won't say no to it. It's going to be awesome. So thank you all so much for watching today's very random video for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Like I said earlier, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to play this for the Let's Play. The most that I can see me covering is maybe the side stories, but I don't want to promise anything right now. So thank you all so much for watching this video, and until next time, leave the gear to you. Oh yeah.